by the time they put my presentation, let me ask all of you, how are you all? All fine? What a disaster that people are fine. And I keep asking people everywhere, how are you, how are you? And it seems people are stuck at the fine level and they remain fine for the whole life. गीता में लिखा है जितने कर्म हम जीवन में करते हैं, चाहे हम सुंदर दिखना चाहते हैं, अच्छे पढ़ाई चाहते हैं, अच्छा पोजीशन चाहते हैं, रिस्पेक्ट चाहते हैं, पोजीशन, सबके पीछे सिर्फ एक ही पर्पस होता है, दैट इज टू बी हैप्पी. इसलिए मैंने डिसाइड किया है, वेयर एवर आई विल स्पीक टू ओनली हैप्पी पीपल. सो विद दिस नोट, लेट मी वंस अगेन आस्क, हाउ आर यू ऑल? All happy? Very nice. So please be happy and keep smiling while we discuss something very serious. I'm going to talk to you about understanding of energy and climate change. Sudhir ji, if he is around, and I hope ET team is around, we have been talking about energy so much, but here at the evening some professor is standing and talking to you about understanding energy, because I believe that 99% people don't even understand the energy, and therefore whatever we are doing is actually not the right things. And I hope by the end of this I'm going to bring sense to you. By the way, before me Mr. Jaggi was talking about green this, green hydrogen, green aluminum. Let me tell you that only plants can be green. There's nothing else that can be green, and hopefully it will make sense to you. I'm a professor of IIT Bombay. I'm a married person and I have 2 daughters, but I've left my home for 11 years. Last time when I was at my home it was 2020, and the next time when I will go my home it is going to be 2031. Not because I have gone crazy, dimag ka screw dila ho gaya, but because climate change is actually a serious problem. And what I'm going to do, I'm living in this bus. Today it is 1398th day of my Energy Swaraj Yatra. This is not a normal bus. I live inside, there's a bed inside, there's a kitchen inside, there's a washroom, office, library, temple, garden, everything is inside this bus, and I hope some of you have seen it. If not, you're most welcome to see it. It is right now in Delhi. Let me start with this, that people spoke about the climate change, and just in the span of 10 years, right from 2015, we started about the fact that climate is changing. By 2020, I started talking about climate has changed, and today in 2024, I can say that the climate change is accelerating. And I'm sure a lot of you must have experienced that every single summer is distinct from the previous summer. Do you all agree with me? Yes. Every monsoon is different, every winter is different. So change is happening so fast that we can distinctly remember that it is happening. So therefore, climate is not just changing, it has already changed, and it is changing to the worst. We can all feel how floods and droughts and heat waves and cold waves and forest fires and ice melting and sea level rise and diseases, all this is happening right now in front of our own eyes. That is climate change. Why it has changed? I'm sorry. Also, we have to remember that the business as usual things are not working. There are 3 tools that the whole world is using to solve the problem. The tool number 1 is policy making. There have been a lot of policies. United Nations has its own policies of Kyoto Protocol, COP meetings we spoke, every single year. Last 28 years there have been meetings. President and prime ministers of the world attend those meetings, and 29th meeting is going to happen. Has the problem of climate change slowing down or stopping? No, rather it is accelerating. So policy making is not working. We all do the technology development. I did my PhD in solar way back in 99, and it is unbelievable that how renewable energy sector, solar sector evolved. The prices have come down so much, the performance has increased so much. Is it solving the problem? Answer is again no. And the third tool that we all use is economic growth. The world economy is growing with the rate of 3-4%. Indian economy is growing with the rate of 6-7%. Is that solving the problem? No. Climate change is worsening every single year. You know why? Because we don't understand the game of energy. And I hope once you understand, we have to redefine the whole idea about the net zero. We have to redefine 2070. We have to redefine decarbonization. We have to redefine everything that we have been discussing today. And I hope ET world actually take a note of it, because the current approach is actually not doing what we are supposed to do. The problem is the problem of energy. In fact, हमारे शास्त्रों में लिखा है पूरी दुनिया एनर्जी का खेल है, और ये खेल हम लोग गलत तरीके से खेलते हैं, and that is why there is a problem. Well, as per the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, there are 17 of them, and in the center of each of this is energy. So whether it is poverty, hunger, health, education, literacy, climate change, even goal number 16 and 17, the peace and partnership. दुनिया में शांति रहेगी या नहीं रहेगी, इसका संबंध भी एनर्जी से. So energy plays a very important role in our life, and as I said, we are all playing a wrong game of energy. And as a result of, and why I am saying wrong game of energy, because of this, I mean, we started to industrialize ourselves in 1850, we started using coal, then crude oil in 1900, gas in 1950, and look at how fast energy consumption is increased. Today in 2024, we are using coal, oil, gas, solar, wind, biomass, hydro, nuclear. But you know what? Despite all this development in renewable energy, even today, more than 80% energy in the world is being supplied from the carbon source, coal, oil and gas. Every time when you burn a coal, it results in carbon dioxide. Right now, as I am talking to you, there is 52% extra carbon dioxide. We, the modern humans, have become so dangerous that we have changed our own environment by 52%. 52% extra carbon dioxide means 52% extra capacity of the planet to trap the heat, means rise in temperature. And that's why every single summer the temperature is rising and rising and rising. Right now it's already hotter by 1.2, 1.3 degrees centigrade, which is equal to 2.5 degree Fahrenheit. When human body gets just 2 degrees centigrade higher, 100 degree Fahrenheit, we say body has got the fever. Right now planet's temperature is increased by more than 2 degree. We should say planet has got the fever, and therefore it is not able to behave properly. So solar, wind, biomass, hydronuclear is only 20%, still more than 80% is carbon source. Now if you want to solve the problem, you have to understand some fundamental boundary conditions of living on this planet. If for our home, we make a rule, we put shoes outside, we cook in the kitchen, we sleep in the bedroom, we take bath in the bathroom. For the bigger planet like this, do you think there should be rules of living on this planet? Hello? Should there be rules of living on this planet? Yes, there should be. But is there any rule? Has any parents, any grandparent, any teacher, any professor, any policymaker ever taught you the rules of living on this planet? And answer is no. I'm going to teach you two fundamental laws, and I call them laws of human existence. I can tell you on this stage today that if you don't follow or we violate any one of this law, I guarantee that human race will not survive on this planet. Law number one, in an ecosystem of finite resources, there has to be finite consumption. Makes a logical sense? Science can grow, economy can grow, technology can grow. Can the size of the planet grow? Can we all come together and stretch our planet, make it bigger? Can the amount of water on the planet grow, amount of soil, amount of minerals can grow? No, everything is fixed and finite. Only humans think, no, we should continuously grow, produce more, consume more, grow GDP more. And there have been so many reports and books that continuous growth is not possible. So what rule number one, if you want to do, is limit your consumption, and rule number two, localize your production. We are trying to go and centralize the production. Centralized production will always result in unequal distribution, rise in inequity, and eventually lack of peace and violence in the world. And that we see the trait of this world with the growth of science, technology, and economy, violence is also growing. So limiting consumption and localizing production, please apply to everything that you do. Whatever you want to consume water, clothes, material, buildings, and the most dangerous thing that we all consume on this planet is energy. If you really want to be sustainable in this world, law number one says, first learn how to limit our energy consumption. And law number two, you must locally produce it as much as possible, then only you can be sustainable. That brings me to the last third thing. Energy is a problem. We have to limit and localize, then switch to solar energy following this three-step approach I call this AMG approach. What is the AMG approach? Well, A is avoid the use of energy as much as possible, even if it is solar energy. I'm a professor of solar energy, brand ambassador of solar energy. My job is to promote solar energy, but as I said, rule number one of using solar energy is do not use solar energy. I did PhD in solar. For mining materials and silicon, and then you have to make module, and then glass and aluminum frame, and iron structure, and copper cable, and inverter, and if you want to store energy, you need battery. All this material needs to be mined. It will come from this planet. You have to dig the planet, you have to put the chemicals, you have to and at the end of life, you have to recycle all this material, and therefore avoid what is avoidable. I am a professor of IIT Bombay. At my home, there is no refrigerator, there is no geyser, there is no air conditioner. I stopped ironing my clothes, not because I cannot afford. I can afford, but ladies and gentlemen, nature cannot afford. You have capacity to buy, but nature cannot supply, because in nature everything is finite. So rule number one, avoid. If you cannot avoid, minimize it. There are very beautiful ways to minimize it. There are efficient appliances available where you can do the same job in much less energy. Efficient lights, efficient fans, efficient washing machine, refrigerator, air conditioner, everything is available in a very efficient version, minimized by another 1/3. And the one last thing you should do is generate. Unfortunately, whether it is ministries and Niti Aayog and policy makers and everybody is all jumping on the generate part. So avoid, minimize and generate 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. And if you're not going to follow AMG, I keep saying you will say OMG, oh my God, solar is expensive, oh my God, rooftop space is not there and policy is not there. So eventually, if you want to summarize, problem and solution lies in this statement. We have to move away from the wrong energy, of course, carbon-based energy, but to the right energy, renewable energy, but in the right way, not in the current way that we are doing and trying to make everything look green, which is actually, as I said in the beginning, only plants can be green. So do it in the right way, and the right way is AMG way, but also do it at the right time. There is no, I mean, the way climate is changing, the way every year is changing, you know, the first threshold limit of global warming is 1.5 degrees centigrade, when the climate change will starts to become irreversible. And the last boundary is 2 degrees centigrade, when everything will become irreversible. For 1.5 degrees centigrade, we have hardly 4, 5, 6, 7 years time, that's it. We don't have much time, and for 2 degree we have maybe 25 years time. You know, beyond 25 years what will happen, as I keep saying, even if the whole planet and everybody on the planet becomes sand, सब लोग साधु बन जाएं और डिसाइड करें कि आज के बाद धरती पर कुछ नहीं करेंगे, सिर्फ एक लंगोट पहन के जिएंगे, फिर भी क्लाइमेट को रिवर्स नहीं कर सकते. इट्स अ इरिवर्सिबल प्रोसेस, इट्स अ लक्ष्मण रेखा. Once you cross it, you cannot come back. So let us all understand this and follow, and eventually I would like to say that what we are trying to do, the governments all over the world are trying to do, is solve the problem by the, you know, for the people. We are all trying to solve the problem for the people. I believe the solution lies when it is done by the people. You and I am consumer of energy. Every individual is consuming energy. The rich and poor, American and African, you know, young and old, rural and urban, everybody is consuming energy, and energy does not mean electricity. When you wear clothes, you are using energy. When you brush your teeth, you are using energy. When you are sitting on a chair, you are using energy. So we are all big consumer of energy, and every individual must take part in the solving the problem of climate change. Otherwise, it will not happen. We have to create a public movement, and we have to do small thing. You know, one of the first solution to the climate change is not do something. You know, we started a campaign called "Wah Wrinkle Achhe Hain." Every Monday we ask people to, you know, not wear the iron clothes, because every ironing one pair of clothes results in 200 grams. So there are a lot of things which we can avoid and then solve the problem. But last thing, if you don't do this right now the global warming is only 1.2, 1.3 degrees centigrade, and look at the kind of disasters that are happening all over the planet. It is estimated that by the end of this century, the global temperature will rise to minimum 3 degree or up to 6 degrees centigrade. There's a big question mark. What will happen 76 years from now, 100 years from now, or maybe 150 years from now, whether human life survive? And if you are going to survive, how many of us will survive? And therefore, let us take drastic and immediate action right now. Otherwise, we say, once upon a time, there were dinosaurs on this planet. They are not there anymore. They got extinct because of the climate change. ऐसा ही चलता रहा तो 3, 4, 5,000 साल बाद एक नई प्रजाति धरती पर आएगी और क्या कहेगी, एक जमाने में धरती पर इंसान हुआ करते थे. हे भगवान, इतनी शाम को हम कैसी बातें कर रहे हैं. But our science, our data, our experience suggests that we are heading into that direction. With this note, thank you so much for listening to me. I am going to ask you two questions to figure out whether you are energy literate or not. How many of you are sipping coffee in this single-use glasses? Everybody sipping coffee? Which means you are energy illiterate, you know. Let us be energy literate. Let me ask another question. We know that India's GDP has been growing with the rate of 6 to 7%. But how many of you know what is the loss of GDP because of the climate disasters, the event that happened in, you know, the Vadodara, the event that happened in Wayanad, the event that happened in, you know, Assam and Uttarakhand? Any message? Anybody know? No. We do not know the loss of economy because of the climate change. Another reason why you are energy illiterate. As my shirt said, I am energy literate. Are you? Energy illiteracy is the biggest problem of this world. And I believe all the, you know, big decision makers, right from the, you know, top bosses of the country to the CEOs and MDs, please understand this game of energy, which you are all playing in a very wrong game. I hope we will switch away from the wrong energy to the right energy in the right way and at the right time. With this note, thank you so much. Thanks to Economic Times for inviting me.